I told my mom she's always loved my twin sister more than me, and she broke down and told me something about her childhood that made me realize I've been blaming her for something she's been fighting her whole life. Okay, so I, 17M, have a twin sister, and if I'm being honest, our mom has always seemed more partial to her. She's always far quicker to give her hugs and compliments, and she seems a bit more emotionally distant to me. I've noticed it my whole life and I've tried not to let it bother me, but things finally came to a head recently. I don't really want to get into the inciting incident that started this. Long story short, we've been looking at colleges and I was upset because it seemed like she wanted my sister to stay local more than she wanted me to. And I told her she loved my sister more than me our whole lives and she didn't give a crap about me, and I'm still not sure why. Today she came in my room and asked if we could talk, and she said there's something she felt it was time to tell me. Then she opened up about her childhood, something she's never done, and explained that her father abused her intimately and she had brothers who abused her too, and it instilled a deep disdain towards men in her. She told me she's been meaning to go to therapy and get help, but she told me it breaks her heart that she ever made me feel like she loved me less than my sister, and she's been trying my whole life to get the hell over it and grow up, and that it breaks her heart that I haven't had the mom I deserve. She started crying and I hugged her and told her I loved her and she was a great mom and I was lucky to have her. Afterwards I suggested we go out to dinner, just the two of us, and I could pay, and she said she'd take me up on that under the condition she'd pay. So we had a really nice dinner and we talked, and I felt I connected with her in a way I hadn't before. I can't really explain it, but I felt like I saw her and she saw me in a different, but good, way. Overall. Gonna be honest, I feel terrible because I feel like I made her trauma all about me. She's a wonderful person and I don't know why I'd accuse her of not loving me like she loves my sister. All I know is that I'm gonna be better to her and understand she's doing her best, as we all are. That's all. Just figured I'd share somewhere. Edit. Okay, yes, my mom has been making mistakes with not getting treatment and how she's been more partial to my sister than me. However, that doesn't mean she's a horrible mother like a bunch of comments are insinuating. She's a human being in pain and she was able to admit when she did something wrong, and just so everyone knows, she did make some calls and has an intake therapy appointment on Wednesday. If I made my mother sound like she hated me or was blatantly awful to me, she doesn't and she isn't. I love her and she loves me and we're going to do better from now on. Update, 1 month later, so I made a post last month talking about how my mother opened up to me about why she's always seemed more partial to my sister. I was going to post an update 2 weeks ago, but the Reddit app crashed and I lost the post as I was close to finished with it, and I rage quit and lost the drive to write another one. That being said, thank you to some of the people commenting asking for an update. You helped bring the drive back, lol. So before I get into my update, a few things. First, people were asking about my father, and well, I've never met him. My mother has never told us about him aside from the fact that he left her to mother us all by herself at the last second. Like really, all by herself. We don't have any family members we talk to. Additionally, people accused her of telling me the story to manipulate me and get herself a pass, and that's just not true. If you want to argue she wasn't taking care of herself in the way she should have, then sure, you're not wrong. However, she's not abusive or crappy like that. She's just a person in pain. Now onto the update. She goes to therapy on Monday afternoons and I've been going with her to her sessions and we get dinner afterwards. To be honest, the main reason I started going with her is to make sure she goes, and that's been going well. She walked out of one session crying this month, but that's just how it goes sometimes. I've also been seeing eye to eye with my mom in a way I never have, and I've even been getting along better with my sister, who she also ended up telling about her childhood, and my sister has been insanely compassionate towards both me and our mom, and sometimes will intentionally leave my mother and I alone so we can bond. And don't make any mistake, she is trying her damnedest to connect with me. She's been asking me questions about my hobbies and engaging in them with me, and I do believe she's a great mom. I'll close this out with an uplifting story from a few nights ago. So my sister and I watched some TV together and were up late, so we started heading to bed, but we heard our mom in her bed crying. We looked at each other and neither of us knew why she was crying, but I know she's been in pain, so I went inside and without saying anything lied down on her bed next to her. She stopped crying and seemed surprised, but then my sister came into the room and also without saying a word got into the bed next to us. My mom started crying again, a good cry this time, and gave us both a hug and said I love you guys, and the three of us all went to sleep together. It genuinely made me feel like my sister and I were little kids again. Obviously we had a lot less space than we did back then and were packed tightly together, haha, but it was wonderful and reminded me of the old days when we'd all fall asleep together. Anyway, yeah, that's the update. Thank you to the people who were commenting asking me to post the update, and to anyone who left a supportive comment on my last post. It means a lot. OP saw his story get reposted and then commented on it. Sigh. These comments sum up everything I hate about Reddit. I see a lot of comments creating a narrative and making assumptions based on what I shared, such as me not getting my own therapy or my sister and I being the product of SA. We're taking it one step at a time, and yes, I am receiving my own therapy despite the assumptions of so many commenters. Additionally, yes, I am battling some complicated feelings of my own with being angry at her for waiting so long to get help and thinking that was okay, but I'm saving those feelings for the therapist until I'm ready to talk to my mom about it. Even though you may not be wrong that she was being a bad mom for going so long without therapy, there is absolutely no need to get angry on my behalf. You can interpret my defensiveness as me not wanting to admit that what has been said is true, but I just really don't care for people on the internet making assumptions about me and my family based on one snapshot I decided to share. Second update, 1 more month later, so I figured I'd post another update. This one's not as happy. Ever since I first confronted her about it, I've had this sense of resentment towards her that I've been trying to compartmentalize and deal with later, or at least in my own therapy sessions. As of late it's been getting harder to ignore them, and over the weekend I lost my temper and yelled at her, asking why she thought it was okay to wait so long to get help and how she probably wouldn't have done anything if I didn't call her out for her bull crap. She heard me out and started to cry and said the only thing she can say is I'm right and I've always deserved a mom who would outwardly love me as much as my sister, and it breaks her heart I didn't get that mother, and all she can say is she's sorry and hopes I can forgive her someday. I didn't say anything in return and just left the house. I haven't confronted her since, and I know she feels bad, and the crappy part of me feels good about that, but I know she needs all the support she can get, so it's just a crappy situation all around. This is probably above Reddit's pay grade, but I figured I'd post it anyway. Update, 10 more months later. I was thinking today and randomly remembered a year ago, I, 18M, posted about my situation, so I thought I'd come back to give another little update. So today, my sister is away at college, and I stayed local and go to community college. Something, I think, I mentioned in my old post was my mom was pushing me to go away to school and encouraging my sister to stay local. Funny how that happens. Anyway, my sister is coming back home this week for the holidays, but I've honestly really enjoyed it here with my mom. She's been making an effort lately to engage with me with the things I'm passionate about, and I'm a big movie fan, so I've been showing her my favorite movies over the past few months. She's made an insane amount of progress as well, and I'm so proud of her, and we have a wonderful relationship. It certainly wasn't always pretty over the past year, and even though the work isn't always easy, the payoff is certainly worth it. So yeah. We're doing a lot better than we were when I made that original post last year.